Eye on Nature, presented by RTE with the National Botanic Gardens Dublin and the OPW. See rte.ie/eyeonnature for more.
Now, our fabulous Eye on Nature, the photographic competition, is up and running. You have until the 4th of March to get your entries in. The competition was a massive success last year with some 7,000 entries.
Yes, the judges who have to pick the final 12 and the overall winner are with us now. We have Matthew Jebb, who is the director of the Botanic Gardens. We have Mike Brown, who is an award-winning wildlife photographer. And we have Anne Sommerfield, who is also an award winner. Guys, you're all very, very welcome to the show. Matthew, we're going to start with you. You did this last year. How, in the name of God, are you going to top what happened last year?
Well, thankfully, it's shortlisted for us in that we get 100 pictures to choose from. But I think you'd be surprised, and we were surprised as judges, that actually we more or less had the same top 12. So 12 finalists will be selected. And last year we added another 8 that we felt were just so good we couldn't do without them in the show. But of those 12s, one we will pick as the ultimate
as the winner.
And we picked a lovely one, actually, where you picked
beautiful.
A lovely one. We were so happy with it. This fabulous ladybird. And this was the overall winner last year. But overall, there were so many different varieties, whether it's either, you can have plants. It doesn't have to be an animal. Yes. Isn't that right?
Exactly. And I think it's an important thing to remind everybody that plants are wildlife. And, a wonderful treescape or plantscape or individual plants in their habitat will be, eye-catching for us, because that's really how you judge these things. There's a lot of reliance on your stomach of how you feel. That just tells you that is a great picture.
Yeah, but can you overthink that moment, though, Matthew? Can you go out and you really, really want to get the best picture ever, and you could wait all day for it and it won't come, and suddenly you could be walking home and all of a sudden it's there in front of you?
Well, exactly, and there is chance. So, whether you're a professional photographer or a complete amateur and just dabbling as a hobby, you have just got the same chance, really, of having that wonderful image, because you can't set up wildlife. Well, you can, but, it'll often see it.
I guess you can wait for it, maybe.
Exactly. I mean,
actually, the man who could probably tell us a lot about this is the award-winning wildlife photographer, I should say, Mike. Now, Mike, tell us a little bit about that, as Matthew was saying there, waiting for something, or you should just kind of be ready at all times to snap a moment?
I think definitely you have to take advantage of whatever the situation is. So sometimes you do get lucky. You can come across something and it's just in front of you, happens, and you just have to be ready with your camera and have everything set up ready. But at other times, yes, you might have to plan something, get in a hide in the dark sometimes and wait for a few hours until something comes out and the light is up and you can take pictures. It really is a combination of both luck and chance, along with some planning,
Yeah. Is it in the planning where people say, you can make your luck?
Definitely. The old Roy Keane thing comes back all the time, fail to prepare, prepare to fail, and all that. And sometimes, without a doubt, if you're in the right place and you've planned it, you will get the results. But at other times you can wait, 12 hours in vain,
Yeah. Do you know what's interesting, actually, because we were discussing this with you last week, and one of the winning photos from last year, you'll remember, though, was the stag in the Phoenix Park. Yeah. And that could be one of those things that, you have to stand back, and, you guys were saying we don't want anyone to disturb nature or animals. We really don't. But everything was right there, wasn't it? It was like the morning light shining down, the stag right there.
Yeah.
And that time of day, early morning, the evening, often you'll get wonderful, not only animal behaviour, but lighting is just sort of perfect.
There it is.
Look at that.
Yes. Yeah. Midday can be hard. I mean, that is just an extraordinary picture that Adele caught in Phoenix Park.
But again, Matthew, you're using everything God is giving you there as well, aren't you?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you can't fake that.
No, and you've got to be prepared. Like Mike says, fortune favours the brave. You've got to be ready. You've got to have the right equipment. You can't just hope to catch something quickly. We all know that whipping out a phone, it takes a little while. A camera takes a little while to get it all set up.
Yeah,
you need to be ready.
We have Anne Sommerfield with us as well, who is one of the judges. Anne, are you looking forward to this task ahead of you?
It's a giant task, but I'm really excited about it. I obviously looked at some of the photographs from last year, and the standard blew my mind. So I'm really looking forward to it. Just to add to what the guys were saying, I would say the secret to success here is also understanding your animal and understanding that animal's behavior. We can spend weeks, months and years in the field just waiting around, but you can swing the odds in your favor if you understand more about when an animal is likely to do something, or if you understand their vocalizations, for example. That can often give you a clue as to what's going to happen next. Like an alarm call will tell you there's a predator. So I think the more you can understand your subject, the better your odds of getting really great behavior.
Okay, and can we just go back a few years, and you have a huge connection with this city here in Cork as well, in UCC.
Yes, I studied zoology in UCC, and then after that I disappeared to the Kalahari Desert for a year, as one does, to study meerkats. So I spent a year following them around, learning their behaviour. And during the course of that year, a film crew came to the Kalahari to try and make a series about them, which they weren't sure was possible. And I, at that point, got involved, and that series was Meerkat Manor, and became quite a popular series around the world.
Yeah, that became an award-winning series. You can gloat a bit on this one, which was the most amazing piece of film, you know, and the most amazing study into them. But, you know, if you look at something like meerkats, I mean, they are, I'd say, difficult to capture because they're frenetic almost in their behaviour a little. Yeah, aren't they?
Well, they are, but they have moments where they are still. And again, that comes back to understanding and knowing their behaviour. So in the morning when they come out of the burrow, they love to stand around and sun themselves. And you'll get a moment of calm there. Then a lot of the time they are going 100 miles an hour, but then they give you more story than any other species that I've worked with in a short space of time. Yeah,
and people always say you should never meet your heroes because you could be disappointed. But you met yours on the Great Barrier Reef.
I did, yeah. I had the good fortune of working with Sir David on that series, and you know, I have to say he didn't disappoint. He was 90, I think, at the time when we made that series, and he's super sharp, incredibly charming, very funny, and he was terrific.
Sir David.
Brilliant, Sir David.
There we have it now.
And you know what? Wherever you see him speaking and whatever he speaks about, he's still so passionate that today, as the first day he started, and I guess someone like yourself, Mike, you've got to be really passionate. We've got some beautiful photos of yours we're going to talk you through now. Well,
you do. You have to be seriously interested in your subject. And actually, just to echo what Anne said about knowing your subjects and stuff, whenever I've been photographing different subjects, I've searched a little bit of help, either through people who study certain animals or protect certain animals. Yeah. And I probably worked with some of Anne's teachers from the zoology department in UCC over the years, talking about different animals that I wanted to photograph. But you have to have that passion and that interest to do it. What I would say is that the response to the competition last year with more than 7,000 entries proves that there's an awful lot of people out there who are massively interested in photography and massively interested in photographing nature in Ireland. So
we just want to shoot two more of your shots, because you've got a beautiful one here of bluebells. And as Matthew was saying there, I think it's so lovely to actually see plants and flowers as part of this too. Absolutely.
The bluebells and the wild garlic, just from literally up the road from my home down in West Cork. And this is nature as well in its perfection. It's just so beautiful, and it doesn't always need to be an action shot or something.
Like
although the next shot that comes up, of course.
But if you do get one like this, though, do send it in.
two leaping dolphins off the coast of West Cork as well, out from the little village of Cormacsherry where I grew up. And there's so much out there for us to see, to enjoy, and to photograph if we're interested.
Can we just ask a quick kind of tip from you before we go to these budding photographers when they are going to enter and getting that perfect snap?
The important thing really is, you know, that sharpness of image, just how different the shot is. You know, having a photograph of birds on a bird table, think about how you might build in a bit of action rather than just get a sort of photo that's going to identify something. We want to see, you know, some life to it. Wildlife.
Lovely. Matthew, Mike and Anne, thank you
so much, all of you,
very much for being with us today. Absolutely fantastic. You have until the 4th of March to get your entries in, and if you would like to send them in, here's how you do it.
Look deep into nature, said Albert Einstein, and you will understand everything better. And where better to celebrate our natural world than in the art of nature photography? calling all budding photographers and nature lovers alike, as RTÉ Eye on Nature, Ireland's wildlife photography competition, returns. To enter, see rte.ie/eyeonnature. For updates and more, The Today Show on RTÉ One and Mooney Goes Wild on RTÉ Radio 1. Eye on Nature, presented by RTÉ with the National Botanic Gardens Dublin and the OPW. See rte.ie/eyeonnature for more.